My dad was born 300 years too late to be a pirate, so he and his brothers decided that they were going to be cowboys. And when my older brother and I were real little kids in Wisconsin, we told all the kids in the neighborhood that our uncles were cowboys, and they called us liars, and my mom had to take us into protective custody because they'd seen cowboys on TV. They knew who Roy Rogers and Gene Autry were, and nobody's uncle was a cowboy. Cowboys weren't real, they were only on TV. Of course, these same kids, when my older brother told them that there was gold under our front porch, every kid in the neighborhood out there with a teaspoon, my dad actually had to shore up the front steps because all these kids couldn't have an uncle who was a cowboy, but gold under the front porch, that made sense to them. Yeah. And then early that summer when we got out of school, my uncle came to visit with his hat and his big belt buckle, and he wore jeans and a plaid shirt, and he showed them his saddle in the trunk and his spurs, and for a really short time we were absolute gods in our neighborhood because our uncles were cowboys, real cowboys. Because back then you could make a living in South Dakota roping and riding and bulldogging and branding, and that's what they did. Except just my uncles, not my dad. My dad never even got to be a cowboy. And so none of this actually has anything to do with this song. Other than the fact that I figured out later in life that it's warmer in here than it is out there. I figured out later in life that my dad was really a cowboy. There was a time not long ago when a man's word was his bond. If he shook on a deal, it was signed and sealed. But those days are gone. Seems these days you can't trust anyone to do what they said they would. The world has moved on, the good old days are gone, and I'm afraid they're gone for good. I wanna ride off into the sunset like a cowboy in the old west. I got no use for what's going on here, and I think it'd be for the best. There was a time not long ago when a man really owned his own stuff. What he built with his hands, his home and his land, even when times were rough. Seems these days it's all just on loan from a fella down at the bank. And if we can't pay and he takes it away, he says we've only ourselves to thank. I wanna ride off into the sunset like a cowboy in the old west. I got no use for what's going on here, and I think it'll be for the best. There was a time young folks cared to hear what an old man said. They showed concern for the lessons he'd learned from the kind of life that he'd led. Seems these days they don't care what he knows, or if he's got something to say. They couldn't care less, and I have to confess that I'd rather just ride away. I wanna ride off into the sunset like a cowboy in the old west. I got no use for what's going on here, and I think it'd be for the best. I got no use for what's going on here, and I think it'd be for the best. Thank you very much. That's it.